Hello out there, and it is a very exciting day today because today I am taking my turn in the Give a Knife, Take a Knife 2.0. That's GACTAC for those of you who are in the know about it. And if you're not familiar with what the Give a Knife, Take a Knife idea is, it's something that I came up with about a year or, man, almost 2 years ago because I've done it a couple times now, where a group of knives, this group of knives, as you can see on the paper, gets started from one position and passed around to a number of different people, and each person chooses a knife to take out and then they replace it with another knife. So basically just to pass around, but it's for keeps, you know. And I've done this a couple times, and this is a new experience for me now because this one was actually started by my buddy the Lawnranger, and he took my idea and sort of amped it up because I always tried to do like a $50 price range for the knife just to make it a little bit, affordable. You're not necessarily getting rid of something that you love, sort of thing. A lot of these knives here, as you can see, are a little bit higher price tags. So there's some nicer stuff going around. People getting the opportunity to check out things maybe that are of a nicer build quality that you wouldn't always get the chance to handle. So that's what I'm really excited about, is just getting a lot of these knives in hand that I haven't really seen before. And it's really different as the person who's not facilitating it. So again, this one from the Lawnranger, being facilitated also by my buddy Jeff Jewell. This is the list of knives that started out. I am the third person to get this box, so 2 of these knives aren't here. We're just gonna go through the knives that are here, and then I will go through the decision-making process and let you know what I chose. So the knives that were originally in the box, let's get started. Here's the HK Exemplar. This one is a knife that I've reviewed. I had from the Apex Pass-Around group a chance to handle it, but I also handled it before it came out at Blade Show West 2018. And this was a knife that was like on the verge of coming out. It was the first, actually, I really think it was the first Hoax to have the axis lock. So it was right around that time that that patent was expiring. And this one really impressed me. I should have gotten one at Blade Show West 2018 because they were like 75 bucks. They had them for such a good sale. Just, an introductory kind of thing. Really good knife. CPM 154. Great steel. Everything about it USA made. Really like this one. This one definitely was going to be a contender. The next one on here is one that you might recognize because I've actually had it on the channel, this exact knife, because I actually got this knife for the Lawnranger. This is the Spyderco Native Chief, Collectors Club number 90. This is the first one. I like the design. You guys know I'm a fan of the Native, but the Native Chief just a little bit too large for me. So this one is just going to be eliminated. It's a pretty cool knife though. Yep, no complaints about it. Then we also, next up, have a discontinued Benchmade. This is the Benchmade APB Assist, and I'll start to move these out of the way just to make a little bit of room. And the APB Assist was a knife that interested me a little bit when it came out because it has an odd sort of mechanism here. You saw the assisted opening with the thumb studs, but the mechanism up top is not an axis lock. It's like a button lock that's actuated from either side with these tabs. And it's really cool on the automatic version because you can just open the knife by just pushing either one of these tabs. As you can see here, like that's not the case. The assisted version, honestly, seems to me to be a little bit less cool. Overall, the lines of the knife, pretty good. An appealing one just in terms of looks. So it was definitely one that I was thinking about. But I don't know. Sort of on the cusp of contention. All right. Next, where is it? Here it is. The Hoax EX01, and this knife is pretty freaking cool. I thought, and I don't really know that much about Hoax, so for some reason I was always under the impression that this was an automatic knife, just because I thought that this was like the actuator and the safety and all that kind of stuff. It's not. It's manual. It's manual with a button lock. It has their like unique kind of G10. They call it G-Mascus, I think. But if you take a look at the Hoax Deca, they definitely have a history of doing some cool and different sorts of things with G10. I really like that. I like Leishwitz designs, especially the ones that are useful, and this is a very useful blade shape. A lot to really like about this knife because I do like button locks. Action is pretty good, strong, well built, definitely a knife that I would want to hold on to. So yeah, I almost made my decision on this immediately upon taking everything out, but we'll come back to this in just a second. The next one, let's see, that we have here is the Emerson Horsemen. So I've never owned an Emerson. I've handled them very rarely. What I can tell you about this knife is that some of the things that people say about the Emerson knives that they don't really like, I can understand. You know, the action isn't particularly great. Maybe it could be dialed in and could be better. The fit and finish isn't particularly great overall, but it seems like a work knife. You know, it doesn't seem like it's worried about that sort of stuff. It's not trying to be something fancy. It's trying to be durable. I don't know how it'll hold up to use, all that sort of stuff in terms of actual beating on it or tactical uses or any of that stuff. But I can tell you that they're not worried about those like details that a lot of the real knife collectors care about, and that's why they avoid Emersons. I do like the blade shape a whole lot, even though I'm not really a wave person. That's completely unnecessary for me. But one thing I've seen with Emersons that sort of just irks me from a visual standpoint is it always seems to me that, like, in a way, the blade is too small for the handle. Like, have you ever seen the knives that your grandpa had, or someone who like just has one of those like pull sharpeners has, where you sharpen a knife 1,000 times, it just gets whittled down to like nothing? Like, that's what Emersons remind me of a lot of the time. And I know that's not fair. Like, that's not a fair assessment of the whole line that they have, because they have a lot of other designs, but specifically this one and a couple others I've seen, it just seems like the blade to handle just is odd. So cool to handle it. Like I said, that's the appeal of this, but this is not going to be in contention. All right, so those are the ones from the original box that are still around. There are two other ones that have already been chosen and taken out. One of those was the Spidey Chef. That was the first knife. And that knife was replaced by these two. So the person who took the Spidey Chef replaced it with this Protec Emerson and also this Cold Steel Airlight. And so, I don't know, I think the pricing of this Protec is pretty comparable to what the Spidey Chef was, so I don't think that adding a second knife was necessary. I also am not sure if that makes it a bundle deal or not. I don't really know. You know, the Airlight isn't necessarily like the cheapest budget knife either. It's like a $70 knife. But this one, the Protec, micarta scale, 154 cm, really good looking blade. Again, though it's an Emerson design, I don't really love the blade to handle ratio. It's super comfy in hand. It seems to be pretty well made. There is some appeal because I would like to have a Protec. I've never owned one, but this isn't going to be the one. As for the Airlight, this was love at first sight. This knife I never handled. I didn't understand like the pricing of it when it came out. And that's a story for another day, and believe me, that story will be told, because, you know, I decided that regardless of what happens here, like, I have to get one of these knives at some point. It's super sweet. Like I said, love at first sight, and that doesn't happen with knives all that often. It's been a while since I took a knife out of the box and had a connection with it like as strong as I have with this one. So it's pretty cool. Even though there is this this mod right here, as you can see, that was really just done to allow access to the thumb stud. I don't think that's necessary, and you know, I can actuate even the thinner side easily without something like that. So whatever. But the design is just super good. There's a lot of things about this knife, like just being able to flick it out. I can Spidey flick it, and I've never been able to do that with a triad lock knife. I mean, there's just a lot of good things to say about this. It's super light. The clip doesn't suck. The steel supposedly is really good. The design is awesome. Yep, I'm a big fan. Now, I know that this mod was done right here to create that little space and that depression. I don't know if the scales were sanded as well, but the traction on this is lower than other cold steels that I've had. So just interesting. I don't know if maybe the whole scale was worked on. But regardless, it's very cool and something that I definitely will be getting on the channel at some point because, yeah, it's pretty awesome. So then the second person who got the box they took out the quiet carry strand, which obviously is not pictured here, and they also replaced it with a twofer. And this is a bundle package for sure. It's a Boker Kalashnikov. And I've always said Kalashnikov for some reason. I don't know. Tell me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Kalashnikov and a Spyderco lightweight Para 3 in BD1N. So you guys know how I feel about the Para 3. Really great platform. Honestly, some plastic scale knives I really have a draw to, some I don't. In this case, I felt like the G10 Para 3 just felt like a better construction for me, and it didn't seem heavy to the point where it needed a lightweight version. So, you know, it is what it is, but I'm not, you know, going to take the lightweight Para 3 over the G10 one ever, even though the pricing might be a little bit cheaper. The Boker's cool though. I've handled a couple of these, and yeah, they kick like a mule. And the one thing about them is you can, even though it locks up well every time, there's a little bounce at the back, you know, right when it hits that lockup. So yeah, it fires pretty nice. I like it. I don't know. It's one of those knives that I never understood why people got them, but now they're like, you know, 40, 50 bucks, and they're always on sale here and there. And yeah, I can totally see myself getting one of these in the future. And again, guys, just to like be a broken record, that's the appeal of doing something like this, is just getting stuff in hand that you wouldn't usually get. Which brings me back to this Hoax, because I don't know that I'd ever handled this knife before. Maybe at Blade Show when, you know, when I was handling a whole bunch of stuff, I had something like this put in my hand, but who knows? And I can't really remember. And here we go. This one I thought for sure was going to be the pick. You know, I unboxed these knives last night and went through them, and I decided on this knife. And I mean, I even like took it and had it on my bedside table at night. Like I had decided this was going to be my knife. And it's sweet. I mean, it's a really good knife. So I was pretty excited about that. And then I had to go and deal with the question of what am I going to put in? Oh man, well that's a whole nother story, you know? That's a whole nother story. If I'm going to take this Hoax, what am I going to put in? Well, here's the thing, guys. I don't know if you know that much about my collection, but I don't have very many knives that are over $100 that I really want to part with. You know, I'm not the point in my collection where I can just afford to just buy a whole bunch of stuff and keep it if I don't want to keep it forever, you know? And that's sort of how it is. I don't have a lot of just like, and okay, let's be real. I have plenty that I could get rid of, but there's a lot of stuff that either was gifts or I have a sentimental attachment and I just really don't want to have to move it. And so what I came up with, believe it or not, these are the 3 knives that I had to choose from to part with. These are the only 3 that I felt would be in the price range of whatever I chose in order to trade it out. I mean, I think this Hoax goes for around 200 bucks. Right? And I had the Kaiser Cordo here, and I value that maybe a little bit lower than that, even though it's discontinued and hard to find. The people who would really want this might pay $200 for it. But I was thinking if I had taken like the HK, that would be a good trade, and that would be fair. But honestly, for something like the Hoax here, I don't know that that's fair. So now I'm eliminated down to here. Now I have 2 knives. I mean, and guys, like, you know these knives from this channel if you watch this channel. The Domino is my one knife for everything. It's the best. It's still, arguably, even though I'm thinking about getting rid of it right now, it's the best all-around knife that I have. I mean, it's hard to debate that even. It's just so good at everything, and it's a wonderful design. I've liked this knife for so long, but I don't carry it that often. And that's sort of the thing, is like, yeah, it can be the best, but I don't need one knife for everything. I have plenty of knives. So is this one that I'd be willing to part with, or the Paramilitary 2? You can always buy another Paramilitary 2. You know, this one has a little bit more value because of the steel and the sprint run, blah, blah, blah. Like, would I really miss it if I just got a regular standard Paramilitary 2 down the road? I don't know. So these are the 2 things that I was going to have to choose from. And I ended up deciding on the Domino. But then something started bothering me. I started thinking, all right, I'm getting rid of the Domino, and that's fine. I'd come to terms with that, even though, like, I I wasn't happy about it, believe it or not. Like I don't want to get rid of the domino, but it just sort of is what it is. You know, you have to have that fair trade, and so that was how it was going to be. The one thing that just kept bugging me was this right here. I kept thinking, this is the only knife, the Cold Steel Airlight, out of this entire group, that when I ship it away, I'm going to be upset that I did. It's the only one. Even if I had to let go of the Hogue and I couldn't get the Hogue, it's the only one that I would say, man, that's the knife that I have to put on my list. I have to find a way to get that. And I kept thinking about that, and I was like, well, then why the hell don't I just get it now? Like, if I don't have to have the Hogue, you know, as fun as it is to be part of this and to, like, you know, trade for something that's, you know, a little bit nicer, if the knife that you want is right here in front of you, like, just get it. And I don't mean to throw a wrinkle into the plans, and I don't know if this was really meant and needed to be bundled with the Protec, you know, and as much as I would like to do more of like a high-end kind of trade, because, you know, this is a sub $100 knife here, I'm going to take the knife that I want, and that's the way it's going to be. And so I'm going to take this. The Hogue's going to go along with the rest of the box to the next person. So there's sort of going to be like an added knife in there, I guess, now. And the knife that I'm going to replace it with is this one right here, the Kaiser Rogue. And I think in terms of pricing and in terms of materials, that's a very fair trade. I think in terms of usability, I think the Airlight is going to be a fantastic one for me for any task that I need. And I think in terms of an EDC, the Rogue is among the best Kaisers that there's ever been. So yeah, I think it's very fair. And honestly, a lot of the knives in this box are a little bit on, you know, well, even the HK, they're a little bit larger than this. So this gives a little bit of a smaller option for a number of people. So this one's going. And I'll be real with you guys. I don't want to get rid of this one either. I mean, I like this knife a lot. But, you know, what I always say is if you let go of a knife and it bugs you, it bugs the hell out of you that much, then you just got to track it down again. And sometimes tracking it down again is the best part. So if there is a void in my life because I don't have the Kaiser Rogue anymore, then I'll find a way to make it happen and get one back. And that's just the fun of the game. So that is it. That is my choice, guys. I am taking the Cold Steel Airlight. Believe it or not, who would have said, or who would have thought? I haven't had a new Cold Steel in a long time, and now we're going to have one to review, and I'm super pumped about it. So I'm taking that, putting back in the Kaiser Rogue. All right? So thanks again to the Lawnranger, Jeff Jewell for facilitating it, and Connie and everyone for helping out with that. I really appreciate you guys and for thinking of me to be in this. I will get this along to the next person, and I will definitely have a review of this knife coming soon on the channel. All right? Any questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, let me know down below. I will talk with you soon, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Take care and have a good one.